Hello, I'm Ferg.
And I'm Heather.
And little Squeaks are our baby daughter getting in on the act, and together we are
New Old Friends.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to another festive audio advent calendar from comedy Whodunits for your ears.
Now this is another Peter Artridge adventure, so more in the style of an audiobook with a chapter released every day up until Christmas.
We really hope you like it.
Now, partly because of our little bundle of joy here, and partly because of our work on our stage show, A Christmas Getaway playing Peter or Bath Houston from 13th of December, tickets selling fast, book now, we are actually going to be recording an exit message after the chapters.
But what we are doing instead is an added extra.
Ooh, added extra.
A Christmas quiz.
A Christmas quiz?
24 questions, one a day. Send us your answers on social media.
Use the hashtag NOFQuiz, that's N-O-F quiz, yes, that's right, baby girl, N-O-F quiz.
Or through our website, whoever gets the most right will win a very special prize.
Absolutely. So, question number 1 is, on which saint's feast day did good King Wenceslas look out when he was off collecting his deep pan crisp and even pizza?
Not what he was doing, folk.
Really, that's what the joke says.
No, but never mind. Let's enjoy the story. This is Crimes, Clues and Christmas. Crimes, Clues and Christmas, Chapter 1.
It was the night before Christmas. No, that's not strictly true. It was a few nights before. Well, more than that. A couple of weeks before, really. It was definitely in December, because the decorations had started going up. Although that's no guarantee, is it? Hang on, I'll start again. It was a few weeks before Christmas, and all through the house... It wasn't technically a house. I don't actually have a house for all the whatever to be through. I live in a flat above my office. But I wasn't even there. I was at my club. I won't say which club. Gauche of a chap to brag about his club, although mine is pretty great. We've got more than a few right honourables, a smattering of sirs, and even a couple of HRHs of the lower order. Anyway, I was at my club. Third time lucky. Here I go. It was a few weeks before Christmas, and all through the club, not a creature was stirring, not even... No, look, it's nonsense, I'm sorry. Utter nonsense. Mouse doesn't rhyme with club. And in any case, the place was a riot of activity. Gil Farrell was 3 sheets to the wind for one, and sticking with the sailing activity, taking on water left, right and centre. Right, I'm parking the poetry. Let's start this again properly. Oh, cub! I could have said not even a cub! Like a young wolf or a tiger. Or a bug, even. Oh well, too late, Artridge. You've moved on. Back to the start we go. As I think you've cottoned on, I was at my club when this latest farrago started. Not that I had any clue a farrago was about to go and farrag all over the place. As far as I knew, it was a perfectly ordinary evening. I was ensconced in my favourite chair, the big green leather number near the bar in the games room, watching an engaging game of billiards between Frederick Surgery Trottingham and Guy Leatham III. The pair of them have got into a right old ding-dong about the correct way one should take their coffee. I've always been an advocate of orally myself, but this pair had very strong opinions and decided the only way to settle it was to knock the old balls about with the long wood for a while. The only spectator of the match was Wilson, the barkeep in the games room. I've no idea if Wilson is his first or last name. It never occurred to me to ask. He's simply Wilson, provider of Scotch and nomic northern wisdom like, "Aye, some gadgy dunched me motor, so I gie him the doiling down the banks like." To which the only possible reply has to be, "I see, Wilson, yes, quite. Can I have that drink now?" It's not all impenetrable argot with Wilson, though. He's been a font of romantic advice for many a member of the club in his day. If you'll forgive me a little digression before the main act, consider this a light, love-hued aperitif ahead of the main course of murder and mischief. A few summers back, Clancy Bustleton-Jones, of the Suffolk Bustleton-Jones coat-hanger empire, he'd got himself all turned around over a tiff with his fiancée, Nancy Jones-Bustleton, of the Norfolk Jones-Bustleton's curtain-rod kingdom. Clancy came moping into the games room looking like Atlas must have felt, which is to say, the weight of the world was on his shoulders. The poor blighter slumped over to the chair next to my habitual perch, dragging his feet so much he ploughed 2 deep furrows in the shag of the carpet. As he collapsed into the welcoming embrace of the leather, he ran a bony hand through his close-cropped red hair and let out the sort of moan only a heartbroken man can release. "Ew," moaned Clancy. "Pardon, sir?" chirruped Wilson, who, not being a detective of the human condition like me, had failed to spot the emotional anguish writ large across poor old Clancy's every fibre. "I said, ooh," repeated Clancy, although his encore didn't have quite the same passionate heft as his first. "Ooh," echoed Wilson. "Ooh, indeed. Ooh, 1,000 times, Wilson. I say again. Ooh, ooh." Clancy was really warming to his theme now. He'd got his oohs in a nice groove. "Oh, ooh, yes, ooh. Oh, what a to-do. So what do I do?" "Well, you do a fine ooh." "Thank you. But I ask you, what should I do?" "I'm sorry, sir, but I can't answer that without knowing the predicament you find yourself in." A very fair point made by young Wilson, that. One couldn't possibly expect the chap to weigh in on any matter that has elicited such an ooh without more details. "Right, yes. I see what you mean," agreed Clancy. "It's like this. I was all set to fly through a romantic afternoon with my affianced when the golden rays of amorous bliss clouded over very forcefully, causing turbulence which affected my flying something rotten." "Aye, very bumpy is turbulence, so I've heard." "Indeed, the bumpiest." "And what, may I ask, caused this disagreeable shift in atmospheric conditions, sir?" By this point in proceedings, Wilson had, with that great foresight all the best keepers of the bar possess, fixed the scion of the Bustleton Joneses a rather healthy measure of Scotland's finest. Clancy took the opportunity of Wilson's questions to have a solid glug of the liquid gold. The fine Scotch bestowed its warming gifts onto Clancy, who, suddenly filled with more vitality than whence he arrived, fixed Wilson with a look over the rim of his cut-glass tumbler and raised a ginger eyebrow. From the angle I was observing it, it looked like a miniature fox was preparing itself to leap from his face into a small pool of amber. "I say, Wilson, you do know we're talking in metaphors here, and the weather itself didn't change a jot, don't you?" "Aye, I do, sir. Although, I'd hazard the weather did change a bit, this being England, sir." "Aha, the island climate. You're quite right, Wilson. Very good." Clancy chuckled. "Well, thank you, sir. What had manifested this metaphorical meteorological modification, sir?" "Ah, well, now we've reached the nub of the thing." "Away!" Wilson rubbed his hands together. "Huh, what? Never mind. Continue, sir." "As you're well aware, I, Clancy Bustleton-Jones, enjoy the honour of being betrothed to Nancy Jones-Bustleton." "Indeed, sir?" "Well, as we were strolling around Richmond Park trying to pick a spot to picnic, she started to nitpick my picnic picking." "She didn't." "She did. Apparently, I kept suggesting spots which were too sunny or too shady, and she wanted something in between." Clancy took another swig of his drink with an exasperated flourish. "Dappled? I quite agree. But you shouldn't speak that way about another man's fiancée," snapped Clancy. "No, sir. I'm saying what she wanted was dappled. Dappled shade." "Eh, of course." "Well, there wasn't any dappled shade to have. All the other picnicking nitwicks had swooped in early and claimed it all. It led to some hard words from Nancy viz the ability of Clancy to provide. A bitter blow." "Aye, I can see that, sir." What happened next was perhaps not my finest move, but as you can imagine, I was vexed by the picnicking nitpicking and the nitwitted misfits whose picnics gave rise to the lipstick nitpicks from my beloved lips. "You can say that again, sir." "I'm not sure I can, actually." Anyway, I said to Nancy, "I won't be having any of this when you're Mrs. Clancy Bustleton-Jones," to which she replied,
"Excuse me, Clancy, but what did you just say?"
"And what did you say to that?" asked Wilson, expertly topping up Clancy's glass. "What could I say?" replied Clancy. "I'd spotted that I'd obviously put my foot in something unsavoury, but I'm hardly the sort of chap to back down. I repeated myself. I said, 'Darling,' I thought it best to throw in a darling for safety, 'Darling, I shan't be putting up with this picnic nitpickery when you're Mrs. Clancy Bustleton-Jones.' And what did she say?" Wilson was leant across the bar. "Well, I'd say she hit the roof but that we were outside. Still, she damn near hit the clouds which had gathered." "Oh, so the weather had changed?" You're right, it had. Island climate?" "Island climate." "Well, when she finally landed, the girl was incandescent with rage. Glowing, indeed. Positively glowing with rage. She said to me,
Clancy Bustleton-Jones, if you think I'm going to saddle myself with such an unwieldy moniker such as Mrs. Bustleton-Jones, you've got another thing coming, chum.
But darling, I replied, thinking I probably couldn't throw enough darlings at the situation now. Oh, darling, what else would you be called?
I should think I'll stay as Nancy Jones Bustleton, thank you very much.
She said to me. She didn't, said Wilson, mouth agog. Little side note, are mouths the only thing which can be agog? Is it an oral-only situation, agoggery? I must remember to look it up in the dictionary. Still, Wilson's there, mouth agogging for all it's worth, when Clancy confirmed. She did. Surely she's not throwing you over a picnic, is she, sir? Well, the way she explained it was...
I'm sorry to say this, Clancy, but hearing it aloud brought it home to me. I just can't throw away my family name like that. I'm Nancy Jones Bustleton, and being anything else wouldn't seem right.
And what did you say to that? Well, what could I say? I said, look here, darling, I'm afraid any wife of mine must carry my name, what? Otherwise, people will be wondering if we're living over the brush. What of the next generation, I can hardly see young Master Bustleton-Jones Bustleton running around the schoolyard. Where does it end? Wilson looked at Clancy approvingly and gave him another little tot. Aye, and that were well said. What does she say? Well, she said...
In that case, it ends here, Clancy.
And stormed off, which is why I'm feeling like I've just been flogged harder than the underdog winner at the 3:35 at Cheltenham. Here, Wilson smiled the smile of a man who has all the answers. I think I may just have a canny solution to the predicament you find yourself in, sir. Clancy's ears pricked right up at that, for Wilson is not a man to throw around phrases like canny solution willy-nilly. A canny solution, you say? Aye, I think so, sir. Well, lay it on me, Wilson. I am agog to hear it. Ah, so one's whole being can be agog, then. Interesting. Well, sir, it seems to me her issues with her family name dying with her as the end of the line. But what if you simply amalgamated the two names? Clancy visibly sagged. Had Wilson's famous perspicacity failed him at last? That leaves us with the god-awful BJJB situation for the Sproglet, Wilson. I'm not having that. No, sir. I'm suggesting you take the Bustleton from her name and the Jones from yours, and hooray, problem solved. Clancy sat for a moment, transfixed, his eyes darting this way and that, as he looked for holes in young Wilson's plan. But the thing was watertight. He leapt from his chair and punched the air. By Jove, Wilson! Brilliant! I'm off to propose this to Nancy immediately. Thus, Wilson ended the Clancy and Nancy Bustleton-Jones Bustleton farrago as nimbly as he had many other such farragos previously. But fear not. That was not the farrago I'm going to relay to you. No. That particular adventure is far more thrilling, dangerous, and features a good deal more of your intrepid hero, me, Peter Artridge Esquire. It's a tale of daring do that takes in bitter rivals, skullduggery, even murder. And it will leave your ears agog and your eyes a-goggling. I'm not sure either of those are correct usage, but I'll ask someone. No time now, though, because we must press on with the start of my latest escapade. As I say, I was sat amiably passing the time with Wilson watching the billiards ping about, when I was summoned by Eldridge Rawlins, the club chairman. Artridge! My office! Immediately. Yes, that is the moment this year's festive farrago got going. Crimes, Clues and Christmas is a New Old Friends production, part of the Comedy Whodunits for Your Ears podcast series, written and performed by Feargus, Dunlop and Heather Westwell, with sound and music by Fred Riding. New Old Friends gratefully acknowledge the support of Arts Council England in making Comedy Whodunits for Your Ears.